This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. A young Deloraine girl is lucky to be alive after being shot in the face overnight. Police say the 11-year-old was sitting in a parked car with 3 others when bullet fragments struck her in the neck, skull and heart. A man was, late this afternoon, charged in relation to the incident. Our reporter Monika Dadson joins us now live. Monika, what's the latest?
Well, Joe, a 25-year-old Deloraine man appeared briefly here in the Launceston Magistrates Court a short time ago. He has been charged with causing grievous bodily harm and recklessly discharging a firearm. The charges come after 11-year-old Phoenix Newitt was shot in the face at Deloraine around 9 o'clock last night. Police this morning told us the young girl was sitting in a parked car in Stag Court with her mum, uncle and 4-year-old cousin when a bullet was fired from about 50 metres away.
We'll be alleging that a projectile has entered the right-hand rear passenger side of the vehicle, fragmented and struck the 11-year-old girl in the right side of her face.
Police say the incident followed an earlier physical altercation between the young girl's mum and the man's girlfriend at a nearby supermarket. The 11-year-old was initially taken to the Deloraine Medical Centre and then the Launceston General Hospital before she was overnight flown to the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne.
Thankfully, I can say now that recent discussions with the surgeon we've been informed that the little girl has stabilised significantly. She's being treated for fragments in what's been described as the upper part of her neck and lower skull, and also fragments of a projectile that have entered her heart.
Today, shattered glass on the ground was the only evidence that remained at the scene of the alleged shooting. Now, Joe, the 25-year-old man has been remanded in custody. He didn't enter a plea this afternoon and will next appear here in court on Friday.
OK, thank you very much for that report. Monika Dadson joining us there. Well, as we mentioned, Phoenix was flown to the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, where Chanel Vella now joins us. Chanel, what's the latest on her condition?
Joe, little Phoenix was flown here to the Royal Children's Hospital in a critical condition. She underwent emergency surgery to have bullet fragments removed from her head, heart and neck. But thankfully tonight, she remains in a stable condition. We are told her mother is by her bedside tonight, as well as detectives who flew here from Tasmania to provide the family with much needed support. OK, thanks Chanel for that report. Police are continuing to search for an offender who allegedly stabbed a 22-year-old Kings Meadows man overnight. The incident occurred on Ernest Street at around 7:45. The man was taken to the Launceston General Hospital with a wound to the stomach. Police say they attended the scene following reports of a large disturbance involving smashed glass and yelling.
Launceston CIB have interviewed a number of people, taken statements. However, at this stage, we have not identified who is responsible for causing that wound. So we're really interested in speaking to anyone who may be able to provide us information or may have witnessed that altercation.
Police believe the dispute was over an alleged debt. The man has been released from hospital. A Devonport man convicted of a stabbing murder 4 years ago is continuing to protest his innocence. Adrian Smiley is appealing his 21-year sentence, with further submissions made in the Supreme Court today. He was found guilty of stabbing to death Benjamin Maxwell and wounding Ashley Scott during a brawl on Christmas Day 2013, previously claiming he was acting in self-defence. Mr Smiley's lawyer today made submissions on the directions given to the jury surrounding reasonable doubt. The court reserved its decision to reconvene at a later date. Police continue to investigate the scene of a fatal crash on the Bass Highway. A 76-year-old woman riding a bicycle died when she veered onto the highway and was struck by a car yesterday. A number of witnesses are assisting with the investigation. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. Tribunna locals are being hailed as heroes after rescuing an elderly man from his sinking vehicle after it had veered off the dock yesterday afternoon. 3 young men made a snap decision to borrow a dinghy and winch the man to safety, which saved his life.
It's a miracle the man was saved. This car rescued from the depths of the Tribunna wharf after plunging over the edge yesterday afternoon.
I didn't know how I was going to get out.
Luckily for the 85-year-old driver, Jim McCreary, these local heroes just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Looked over at the other side and I seen Jim driving along here, and then went down over the thing. Then I said, Jaden, what do we do?
The quick-thinking guys jumping into a nearby dinghy, steering it next to the wagon that was wedged underneath the boat and quickly taking on water.
Didn't know what to do, like he couldn't get out because he was too shocked.
They tied a rope around Jim's chest, hauling him to safety and saving his life.
Heaved me out under pretty difficult conditions.
Gave him a wedgie because I put him by the pants out of the car, and I'm glad he's all right. He just reminds me of my dad, and I'll do anything for him.
First life I've ever saved.
I haven't got a bruise on me, thanks to these guys.
Jim says he was attempting a U-turn right here, but instead of engaging the brake, he pressed the accelerator, landing him right here in the water. But it's not the first time he's been stuck in a sinking car. It happened to him in the 1950s in the Derwent River at Plenty.
Like a cat with 9 lives.
Yeah, well, angels are on his side.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Confusion continues to surround the state government's new access scheme for medicinal cannabis, just days out from the treatment being made available. Those suffering from conditions such as severe epilepsy will be granted access to the drug this week, but advocates fear it's still far from reach.
Nicole Cowles has long been an advocate for medicinal cannabis, the treatment a saving grace for her daughter Alice, who suffers life-threatening seizures. But with the new controlled access scheme just days away from being made available, she says many sufferers feel left in the dark.
Very few people really know. In fact, I'm wondering if even the government really know what this scheme is, how it's going to unfold.
The government today releasing more information set to make the treatment available for all patients from Friday at the discretion of their local doctor.
The eligibility sits predominantly around a discussion with the family doctor, a referral to a medical specialist, and a medical specialist having done a comprehensive clinical workup of their patient.
There's a focus on paediatrics, but it's not limited to paediatrics, so it should be open to all people who are maybe accessing it, whether it's adults, maybe with cancer or whatever it might be.
But Ms Cowles fears the treatment is still far from reach for those who require the drug urgently.
I know of already a number of people who have had their doctor's referral sent into the specialists, and they are told that their wait is extensive at this stage.
We are employing additional medical specialists so that we can be sure that we're able to meet the demand, particularly in the area of paediatric neurology.
Patients may need to travel to see a specialist, while treatment will only be dispensed through the Tasmanian Health Service pharmacies. Fears remaining over the lengths some may go to without immediate relief.
They're at risk of organic contaminants like mould or synthetic contaminants like ice.
I'm hoping that anybody who thinks that this may assist them in their epilepsy or their other chronic condition will actually access it.
Information is now available on the Health Department website. Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
Another element of Wynyard's waterfront transformation has been given the green light. $1.7 million in funding is now ready to be invested into a project to revitalise the precinct.
This eyesore on Wynyard's waterfront will soon receive some much-needed love. A cash splash to repair the rotted seawall and to build a new boardwalk after the precinct was hammered by last year's floods.
And of just recent times I thought it's going to fall over on someone, but the vandals took care of that recently and stuck the boot into it and knocked it over, so that reduced a bit of the danger, but by the same token began the destruction of it all.
Today, the state government and council pledged the money to bring the project to life.
We're going to be a fairly central place on this in this region before long.
The timing comes amid rapid change to Wynyard's postcard. A shared walking and cycling pathway connecting the town to Burnie was funded earlier this month, while a new high-end resort is being developed at nearby Table Cape.
and we give people the opportunity to travel along this beautiful coastline to experience all that, then I think we're part of people's planning to come to this part of the world before they even leave home. And that's what we need, more reasons to come to this end of the coast.
The seawall and boardwalk are expected to be completed within 12 months. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Taswater has deployed a team of divers to permanently repair a broken sewage pipe on Hobart's eastern shore. Raw sewage began seeping into Kangaroo Bay at Bellerive on Sunday, with a temporary fix hoping to restrict any further escape of excrement. Signs are in place warning the public with ongoing testing to determine if the water is safe for swimming. Taswater says investigations into the integrity of the entire length of the undersea cable will continue. More than 14 years after timber company Guns proposed the Tamar Valley pulp mill, the controversial saga is all but over. The proposed mill was plagued by protests over the years, but today its permit to operate expired. Guns receivers Cordamentha is still planning to sell the 600-hectare site without the licence. The Greens looking to repeal the Pulp Mill Assessment Act when Parliament resumes.
It's been a long fight, it's been a difficult fight for many people, and whilst we're certainly not rejoicing on the grave of any failed businesses, we think it's an opportune time to put this pulp mill to bed forever.
Any project such as a pulp mill into the future would be assessed on its merits, would have to go through all the appropriate planning processes and would need to stand on its own 2 feet.
Cordamentha is in discussions with a number of interested buyers. Now a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed steady despite Telstra shares falling to a 5-year low. The ASX 200 index has risen by 0.7 points. Short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 79.66 US cents and 66.63 euro cents.
The state's best weightlifters will have a chance to fulfil lifelong ambitions by qualifying for the upcoming Commonwealth Games. A contingent of 9 lifters head off on Sunday for the Commonwealth Oceania Championships on the Gold Coast, with several tipped for podium finishes. Powerful, determined and doing everything they possibly can for a shot at representing their country.
So I train every day, 7 days a week. I do at least 5 lifting sessions, and then there's cardio and bodybuilding sessions.
Preparing to compete against the country's best, these athletes make up a group of 9 lifters heading for the Commonwealth Oceania Championships on the Gold Coast.
Yep, get nervous, lose sleep, all that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, the preparation's been done right, so yeah, I couldn't really do any more than I have done.
Katie Facina and Camilla Foganolo are currently ranked number 1 in Australia for the 90 and 75 kilogram senior divisions. Podium finishes at the upcoming championships could secure them spots in the Australian Commonwealth Games team, but it won't be easy.
Australia picks 1 athlete per category, and mostly in most categories it's probably about 3. In the women's, there's about 3 in each category who are going for 1 position, so competition's going to be pretty tight.
The athletes will have one more shot at qualifying at an event in Sydney in December before finding out whether they'll be suiting up in the green and gold.
Huge. It's got to be the dream for every Australian athlete, I guess. It certainly is for me and has been for my whole life.
Undefeated in 2017, the Hobart Zebras women's side is confident it can retain the playing group for next season after capping off a memorable year by beating Ulverston in the last game of the PFD Women's Super League season and officially claiming the league title.
It all comes down to just the commitment of the girls and the squad that we have, and 9 months ago it was our wildest dreams that would be where we are.
We've worked so hard for everything that we've got this year, so the girls were just excited to hear that final whistle and give everyone a hug, so it was awesome.
The league title is the Zebras' 3rd piece of silverware this year after the side clinched the summer and statewide cups. Amy Cure has had a far from ideal start to her Bowls Ladies Tour campaign in the Netherlands. With the Tasmanians' brake pad falling out during the opening prologue stage, Cure was clearly frustrated afterwards.
I got a puncture, my brake pad just fell out at the start, and then I just got obviously an unlucky puncture there.
Cure is currently sitting in 87th position.
Good evening. Hobart 11 degrees today. Launceston and Burnie managed 14, and along with Lowhead and Wynyard, that was the state's warmest today. Mount Wellington the coldest with -4. Ouse, Strawn and the Islands 13, Friendly Beaches 12, Campania and Fingal 11, Grove 10, Lyawini a top of 3. Speckled cloud associated with a cold air mass is over Tasmania and parts of Victoria as well. Cloud embedded with thunderstorms over southern WA. Mostly clear conditions prevailed elsewhere. There is low-level convective cloud, mainly over western, central and southern regions of Tasmania. Tomorrow, a high moves over the state, extending a ridge over central Australia. The next cold front moves into the picture to the west, a trough over western South Australia. Mainly southerly winds tomorrow at 5 to 25 knots, becoming variable during the morning and then southeast to northeast in the afternoon. A road weather alert current for icy roads for the entire state. Partly cloudy in Hobart, 12 tomorrow, a top of 12 for Cygnet, New Norfolk, -2, a morning frost and 12 in the afternoon. Launceston, a top of 14, -2 to start, 12 degrees for Devonport and Campbelltown after cool starts to the day. While for Burnie, a sunny 12, 13 for Strawn and 13 also for Smithton. And for the east, we can expect a partly cloudy 12 for St Helens, 13 the top for Swansea and 12 degrees in Fingal. On Friday, very cold at first with the fog and frost hanging on for the first day of spring, but fine afterwards. The chance of showers on Saturday more likely over the west, and on Father's Day, showers mainly over the north and west, increasing in the afternoon and evening. Showers in Perth, sunny weather for Adelaide, Melbourne, Canberra and Brisbane, partly cloudy and 17 in Sydney. Partly cloudy and 7 degrees in Hobart, 8 in Launceston, 6 right now in Devonport. Joe, congrats on getting through tonight. I see on your desk there you've got every known home cure and over-the-counter cure for whatever lurgy you've got. Lucky you don't have man flu. You wouldn't be able to work at all.
I wouldn't. My desk does look a bit atrocious at the moment, doesn't it? Thank you very much, Murph. That's all a promise for now. Have a lovely evening. See you a bit later.